Hello everybody, welcome back to the lecture series on gas chromatography. This is the fourth one in gas chromatography. In the earlier third lecture we have seen about detectors. We saw the various properties an ideal detector should have, and we saw one of the detectors, that is the flame ionization detector. Now let us see the remaining detectors which we have to study. Now the next detector after flame ionization detector is a thermal conductivity detector. As the name suggests, the detector is based on the thermal conductivity. You know that a wire has got resistance and inverse, that means it has got conductance also, because resistance is inverse of conductance. Now the conductance is directly proportional to the temperature. Lower the temperature, lesser will be the the resistance is directly proportional to the temperature. The lower the temperature, lower is the resistance. Now in this detector, we are measuring the rate of heat transfer from an electrically heated wire by column eluates. Whatever comes from the column is is passed through a heated wire, and when the eluent passes through the wire, it takes off some of the heat from the wire. Temperature of the wire is related to the heat transfer from the wire. If the heat transfer is more, then the temperature of the wire will be less, and as the rate of heat transfer increases, the temperature will decrease. Also, the resistance of the wire is proportional to the temperature. If we are monitoring the resistance, the rate of heat transfer is monitored. This is a differential. TCD is a differential detector because we are measuring. We are having two wires. Through one of the wires, the mobile phase will pass directly, and through the other wire, the eluent comes out. That is what is coming through the column after separation, that passes through the other wire. So in the two filament version, pure carrier gas flow through one side, while through the other side the column eluates flow. Now the resistances are continuously monitored with a Wheatstone bridge. You all must have studied in your lower classes about the Wheatstone bridge. In the Wheatstone bridge you are having four resistances, and once you get null deflection in the Wheatstone bridge, the R1 upon R2 is equal to R3 upon R4. So knowing all three of them, you can find out the fourth one. That is the principle of the Wheatstone bridge. Let me show you the Wheatstone bridge and here you can see that there you are having, in the lower part you are having a Wheatstone bridge circuit. There are four resistances. Two of them are of the sample and two of them are of the two wires are through two wires sample pass through, and the remaining two wires the reference or the mobile phase passes through. You have a power supply system, you have an amplifier output, you have an amplifier, and you have an output. Now so long as there is no temperature difference between the sample and the reference, then there will be zero difference in the resistance. But if there is a temperature difference in the sample and the between the sample wire and the reference wire, then there will be some resistance difference and some potential is produced, and that output is measured. Okay, on the upper part of the diagram in part A, uh, you can see that you are having a filament wire. This filament wire is in a chamber through which the gas, the eluate or the carrier gas comes in, and it takes away the heat from the filament. So this is a heated wire, and the gas goes out through the outflow. Okay, so here you are having two sample wires, and here you are having two reference wires. You can have uh, you can have one sample and one reference wire, or you can have two sample and two reference wires. So in two filament version, carrier gas flows through one side, while through the other side column element flows. The relative resistances of the two filaments are continuously monitored with a Wheatstone bridge. When pure carrier gas flows through both the sides, there is no deflection. See, when the elution is taking place, at the time when no compound is coming out of the column, then only carrier gas will be there coming out. In that case, both the filaments carrier gas will flow. So if through both the filaments carrier gas is flowing, then the resistance will be same, and there is no difference in the resistance. So there is no deflection recorded in the instrument. When sample components passes through one side and pure carrier gas through the other side, there is temperature difference and resistance difference is there, and you get an electrical signal that you can get in the form of volt, and that is measured. Faster a gas moves through the filament, more rapidly heat is removed from the resistance wire. So if you are having a gas which moves faster through the column, through the filament, then more rapidly the heat is removed, more fast the heat is removed. So the resistance will be lower in that case. Now lower molecular weight gases like hydrogen or helium move rapidly because they are light, so they move rapidly and they are used as carrier gas. Usually the compounds which you are analyzing, they have got high molecular weight, and the carrier gas which is used should have very low molecular weight. So there is a good difference in the resistances which you get when the sample flows through the column, through the resistance wire. Now TCD is a universal detector, and it is a non-destructive of the sample. That is, once the gas passes through the resistance wire, it is not affected by it. It only the temperature of the gas may increase and the wire may decrease. TCD is a rugged detector which can take good deal of mild treatment and continue to function well. Now, because of this, TCD is a very popular GC detector. However, TCD is less sensitive and can't be used if capillary columns are used. Now see, earlier on packed columns were used. Nowadays capillary columns are used. But the problem with capillary columns is that the sample size is very small. Now if the sample size is very small, the quantity of the analyte is so small that it can hardly make any difference in the temperature of the wire. Because if you are having lesser quantity of the sample, then once it passes through the wire, it will be such a small quantity that the temperature may not change very much. So if you are using capillary columns, then you cannot use TCD unless the sample size is big. So nowadays that is why TCD is also not used that much, because capillary columns are being used. Capillary columns are used as sample because TCD is less sensitive and can't be used if capillary columns are used as a column, because very small samples are required for these columns, and such samples are not enough to cause changes in temperature. So that is about the TCD. Once again, you can see the diagram. You have got a power supply, you have got a Wheatstone bridge, you have got an operational amplifier, two wires which can remove the heat from through which two wires through which the sample passes, and the sample reduces the heat from the wires, and two wires or two resistances through which the carrier gas passes, and the temperature is lowered by the carrier gas, and the resistance changes because of the flow of carrier gas or the sample, and the difference in resistance is measured. The next one is sulfur chemiluminescence detector. Now this detector is basically useful for the detection of sulfur compounds. What happens is that if you are having a sulfur compound and if you are heating it or burning it with oxygen, burning it in the presence of oxygen, then it gives luminescence. Okay, so what you get is chemiluminescence, because reaction between oxygen and the sulfur compounds take place and you get chemiluminescence, and this intensity of the luminescence is proportional to the sulfur concentration in the compound. More the sulfur present, more will be the luminescence produced, and that way you can detect the compound. This detector is useful to detect pollutants like mercaptans. If you are having pollutants like mercaptans or any other sulfur pollutants, you can determine this with the help of sulfur chemiluminescence detector. Normally the whatever is output from the column is mixed with hydrogen and air and is burnt, like how it is done in flame ionization detector. Now the resulting gases are mixed with ozone, and then once the mixture reacts with ozone, the gaseous mixture the gases that are mixed with ozone, they give intensity, they give chemiluminescence, and the intensity of that chemiluminescence is measured. So its intensity sulfur chemiluminescence detector is mainly useful for detecting sulfur compounds. The next detector is electron capture detector. Now this is basically used to determine halogen containing compounds and also compounds which have got electronegative elements. So ECD is mainly widely used as it selectively detects halogen containing compounds like pesticides and polychlorinated biphenyls. It is highly selective because it is sensitive to electronegative functional groups like halogens, peroxides, quinones, nitro groups, but it is insensitive to groups like amines, alcohols, and hydrocarbons. So basically, it's for chlorinated or halogenated compound. It detects and determines chlorinated insecticides. It is not a very sensitive. It's a sensitive detector, but the order of magnitude is only about 2 orders. That means about 100 times. If the concentration increases, it is able to measure the. It is able to measure the intensity. Okay, measure the current which is produced. Linear response range is usually limited to about 2 orders of magnitude, and it is almost non-destructive of sample. Now let's see the diagram. You are having a chamber in which you have an inlet from the column. You can see that from the column the gases will come into this chamber. Now in the chamber you have a radioactive